Grovants and, or I should say Fort Belknap and Rocky would get together and they would tell stories. I guess who could tell the tallest stories, I guess. This was I was told by one of our people years ago when I was working. Anyway, this first story I want to tell you is one of those stories. It was told to me by Gordon Lodge. And I think he might have heard it up in Rocky Boy. So I'll go ahead and tell it. They used to say years ago when they had this community hall down here in Old Hayes, you know, it was the first dance hall they had. But geez, it'd be a lot of people that come from Rocky Boy, Browning, Fort Peck, when they'd have their Christmas doings and stuff up to New Year's. Canada, all kind of people come down. Well, I guess those old Indians, they'd be sitting up in them bleachers. Boy, I guess they'd be just busy talking sign language. That's the only way they could communicate years ago was by sign, because they didn't know each other's language, you know. So I guess there was 3 old guys that were sitting up in those bleachers. They was, geez, they just getting excited, talking sign, and geez, just laugh every little while. Anyway, I'll start out. There was this old Grovant, I think his name was Frog. He was telling a story that they was headed south to steal horses with someplace down south. It might have been with the Crows. Anyway, they stopped at the Colburn Buttes. That's just south of the Little Rocky Mountains here, the Colburns. And years ago, they used to have what they called war lodges. I guess it was poles that blew over from wind, and they just stick them all together, kind of form a teepee-looking thing. They daub in between, you know, to keep winter storms out and cold out. Well, I guess it was during the fall, at the late fall, they took off for horses. Here, I guess that next morning, or that night, they was inside that lodge, had a little fire going. They was eating. They stopped there to rest for the night. Here, I guess I could hear crunching outside. Just like someone was walking around out there. Here, I guess some of the more experienced warriors are, go see. They was telling young guys to peek their head out and look. Here, I guess this young guy stuck his head out and looked. Here, there was elk, deer, all kind of animals kind of around that shelter, I guess, kind of getting warmth. It was that cold that winter. Anyway, this Nakota Cinnabon guy from up north, he must have been up around Saskatchewan River, somewhere around there. I guess he told a story. He said, boy, I remember one winter, this is all in sign language, you know. He said, I remember a winter that was really cold. He said, stepped outside, went back to my lodge to go relieve myself, go pee, he said. As soon as I started, it all turned to yellow snow and just floated away, he said. Anyway, there was a old bush tree way up north in the parklands, those big openings in the forest. He was telling a story. He said, yeah, he said, I remember a winter like that, he said. Cold, he said, even up north it was really cold. He said we'd go to Hudson Bay and we'd take our hides and pemmican and dry meat, and we trade for what we need in the winter months. Needles, beads, cloth, shot, powder, bullets, you know. Wife would get herself cloth, broadcloth and stuff like that for the house, you know. Then I would go out and hunt for meat, he said. We'd had all kind of other stuff we needed, like breads and jam and crackers from Hudson Bay. So then he'd go out and hunt for meat. Well, he said one morning, he told his wife, he said, well, I'm going to go out. He said, I'm going to go hunt. He said, I'm going to see if I can find something, bring some fresh meat into our camp. So I guess he took off north. So parklands are up north there, so he's going even farther north, probably into the Antarctica or something, you know, he's walked up that way. I guess he just no sooner left his house, he came upon a little knoll. Oh my God, it's great big tracks. Very big tracks. He figured they might have been polar bear. So he said he started cracking. God, he said, they looked fresh. He said, just looked like they were just stepped in you, just made, he said. He said he walked to the next knoll and looked around, couldn't see it. Kept walking like that, just hoping over the next horizon he'd see that bear drop it, you know. all afternoon, all day he hiked like that. Late afternoon, he'd feel that wind start to kick up. He was kind of scared of ground blizzards. He said, well, one more knoll, he said, then I'm gonna turn around and go home. So I guess he walked on top of this little hill, and same thing, geez, them fresh, them tracks look fresh, they really look fresh, you know. So anyway, he's kicking around there in the snow. Geez, all of a sudden he kicked up a shard. About that long. Really a pretty shard, you know. If it's put in that sun, it's kind of all kind of colors in it, like a prism. So he put it in his pocket and he started home, going south again towards this camp. Anyway, by the time he got pretty close, the ground blizzard picked up, and you know, had to stop for a while and shelter up. And meanwhile, his wife at camp, you know, boy, she's really worried about her man, you know, being gone so long. So after the blizzard lifted, he finished going home. I guess he got to his camp, and I guess he got inside. You know, it was just like nowadays, you know, you get too hot, they tell you to take it easy and rest, you know. Just like that too. They say don't go in right away because you might get frostbite or hurt yourself. So they'd kind of stand around and cool off or warm up a little bit before they went into heat. That was just an old Indian thing, I think. Anyway, I guess he got inside, and boy, I guess his wife is, where was you at? Why was you gone so long? Gee, I was worried sick about you. You know, it's like that. She's really giving him hell. Oh God, he said, I got something to show you. He said, geez, he pulled out that shard and he threw a little light, and them kids all seen it. You know, he put it down on the table. His wife was reaching for it. Them kids grabbed it. They started playing with her on that fire. Oh, they just spin it like that. Geez, they see all kind of lights, just prism, you know, reds, blues, greens, just really pretty. His wife was sitting there watching them. Pretty soon she said, "Why, you kids go to bed?" You know, she wanted to play with it too. Look at it. So I guess she ran those kids to bed. She was sitting by that fire. And she, "Oh, this is pretty." She said, "Look at all the colors in this." She'd look at her husband and smile. Pretty soon she brought it close to her face. You can use it like a, you know, like sunglasses or something. Look through. Here, all of a sudden, that polar bear fart melted. That's one of them stories that come out of them. They called them bullshit sessions. They try to outdo each other, I guess.